Hello and welcome to the Customer Success Playbook Podcast, where we're passionate about elevating your customer success game. I'm Kevin Metzger, joined by my co-host, Roman Trebon. Don't forget, for a deep dive into our past episodes, videos, articles, and more, head over to the Customer Success Playbook.ai. That's Customer Success Playbook.ai. And remember to like, share, and subscribe to our podcast and YouTube channel as well. We're committed to bringing you the latest insights and expertise from the industry's best minds. Roman, how are you today?
Kev, I'm doing great. It's Friday. Weather is beautiful. You know, I'm looking forward to today's episode because we have someone here, Kev, I know we wanted to have on the show for quite a bit here, and excited she's here to join us. So, Kev, we have Julie Fox on, Senior Manager, Customer Success at Flowcast. If you're not following Julie on LinkedIn and probably other social media sites, but definitely LinkedIn, that's what I'm on, and she's amazing on it. I love following her content. She has tremendous stuff all the time. But Julie's recognized for her people-focused approach in customer success. She emphasizes understanding all aspects of the customer's business, building strong relationships with customers, and maintaining a high level of accountability. She's also currently nominated for a top customer success thought leader at Success Coaching. So, Kev, I know you and I voted this week. I know Julie was on my ballot. So excited to see those awards getting announced soon. I fingers crossed. I think we're going to have good news from Julie. But today we have Julie on to talk about, Kev. We're going to dive into a topic that we've wanted to dig into a little bit here. And that's about developing an individual and team growth mindset. Right. And really building, how do you build and foster a learning culture within your team and your organization? So we're going to have Julie on. She's going to share her insights on the skills she looks for in CSMs, how she's honed her own skills over the years, strategies she uses to develop her teams. And we'll also get a glimpse into Julie's own journey and stories that help shape her path in the customer success. Julie, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. I'm excited to be here and really excited about this topic. This is something that, especially in the last many years, has been kind of a core piece of who I am and what I bring to teams. And so really excited to talk more about this with your audience.
Well, thanks, Julie. So let's get into it by talking about, how did you get into customer success?
Really, I feel like I stumbled upon it a bit. My journey throughout my career bring up kind of those childhood dreams. And I always knew that I had big dreams. I wanted to have a big impact on the world around me, but I had no idea what that was going to look like. And so I started out my career and I dabbled in a lot of different things. And that's something I recommend to a lot of people is, don't feel like you have to put yourself into a box right away. Don't feel like you have to go one path, go all into it. It's really, really helpful to explore different things. So I started a career far from tech and actually in commercial real estate, and really kind of bopped around throughout sales and marketing, and everything that I did, it really, any job that I was at, it kept leading to leadership roles. So that's something that I am kind of a natural builder, in the sense that whatever I'm doing, I like to kind of think through, okay, how can I help my team? How can I continue to grow this out in a way that's going to impact more customers, more people? And I really enjoy like the coaching aspect. And so some of that stuff came naturally over time, and I grew into these different leadership roles. And then a handful of years ago, I made this large transition into the tech community. And so that was really when I found customer success. I'd say before that, I don't know if I even really understood what it was or what all it entailed. And maybe even as I first got into it, I don't know if I understood the full scope of it, of the layers and layers that go within customer success and how different it can look from company to company, depending on size and stage and industry vertical and complexity of product, all of that stuff. So it's definitely still learning along the way, but it's been a really exciting journey.
Yeah, I love that, Julie. And I love that stumbled into it. I feel like so many of us, like, your background in real estate, I was an elementary education teacher. I was teaching third grade. Like, I feel like everyone over time, and I love that, doing a lot of different things, right?
So I'm just wondering, specifically, how did you transition and where into tech?
Oh, I love that question. So when I was in commercial real estate, I was in a leadership role. I was VP of services, and I had actually been let go while I was on maternity leave.
Oh,
And it was one of those times in life where you kind of, I mean, it kind of kicks you in the gut, and it gives you that moment of reflection where you really think through, okay, what's my next move? What do I want to do now? And so one thing that I knew, I really enjoyed the industry that I was in, but it almost felt too easy. That felt like the easy button for me of like, all right, I've networked it within this group. Not that I had honed my craft or mastered everything in it, but I felt pretty comfortable in it. And I wanted to use this as an opportunity to get uncomfortable and to challenge myself in new ways. And so through the industry that I was in previously, a lot of my customers were tech companies. So this really, I had been exposed to them in a very kind of fringe way, where I had seen the beautiful spaces and the energy, I guess, as you would walk into the spaces. This was pre-COVID, so when everybody was in an office working together. And so there was something that kind of drew me into it. And so I knew that I wanted to explore and learn more about it. And so at first it was just kind of an interest in tech in general. And then as I was networking, as I was talking to different people, I the more that I learned about the structures of different tech companies, that's really what brought me to customer success. Is that, I had an opportunity to talk to a handful of people that were asking me about the areas of my kind of past experiences, what I really enjoyed, what I didn't enjoy, and they kind of paved the way for me of saying, you've got to, it's customer success. Like they almost told me this is what you got
That's
to
what you
do.
got to do.
yeah.
Yeah, that's
and
cool.
and that's what I needed. I truly, I mean, there's so many things that you can do within tech, but I feel like trying to find the right role, the right kind of the fit was really
Yeah.
important to me.
Yeah.
Very cool.
And Julie, you talked about, I loved your, first of all, thanks for sharing your background and your journey into customer success. And so as we want to talk about growth mindset, right? And you've talked about there's no finish line, right? We don't come over, we don't break the ribbon and then, wave our hands, right? There's continuously things you can do. And so now that you're in this leadership role now, it sounds like through your journey, you were a continuous learner. You had that growth mindset, looking to improve, do things differently, take on new challenges, etc. It seems like that came and keep me honest here, but it sounds like a lot of that came natural to you. But as you're leading people now, how do you foster that same mentality in your team? Like, what strategies do you use? How do you get people with that same focus to continuously learn, evolve, try new things, grow, etc.?
Great question. So first, I'll mention that some of this did come natural. I think some of this was some like over time or through layers of experiences that I built in kind of this learning and growth mentality. However, one thing that I will say, the first job that I had in tech was at Greenlight Guru. This is a medical device quality management software located in Indianapolis. And one thing that they do is they invest in their employees in a really unique way where they offer mindset coaching. And so while I had been exposed to some of this, I don't know if I knew the true impact until I saw an entire team and company really rally around and invest in mindset in this way. And so that's something that I feel like in many ways I got it was like a master class in mindset coaching and growth mindset and all of that. So that helped quite a bit. So I just wanted to mention that this isn't all self-taught. Some of it has been learned over time as well. But as for your question about how to foster growth mindset within a team, this comes in many layers. I think one thing that I really try to do when I first get to know a team is really understanding kind of the human, understanding the person, getting to know them on a deeper human level in order to better work together. And that's something that I think a lot of people kind of jump straight into it and immediately start getting critical or thinking through, how can I squeeze the most out of this employee or get the most out of my team? And I think it's not the right approach. And I think that's something that, one of the first things that I do with teams is I meet with each individual for 60 to 90 minutes. And I've developed kind of this outline that I go through. And it's almost like an interview in some senses, where I go through and talk to them about what motivates them, or how they are motivated, how they like to give and receive feedback, what are their short and long-term goals, what are they really good at, what are the things that they're not so good at. And I like to hear that from them in a more casual, kind of authentic way from the beginning. And then there's definitely learning along the way. I mean, I think that's something that is crucial, is taking the time to listen to calls, see them in action, get to know, kind of asking questions of, hey, tell me more about why you approach this way, or tell me about what your thought process is here. And I think that's really important, is getting to know the individuals in that way. But I think that's where, by getting to know them first on a more personal human level, it really allows us to start building trust from the beginning. And then once that is there, I think as a team, a couple things that we really work on is the discussion around kind of radical candor and giving and receiving feedback. I think that's something that is one of the most important topics, not just for CS teams, but truly for all teams.
Yeah.
And kind of building a culture around feedback, I think is really important. It's not just going to come from me. I'll become the bottleneck. I can't have that responsibility of every bit of feedback or every bit of coaching's coming from me. It truly has to be something that they are leaning into, and they are seeking feedback. They're reaching out to even peers or different cross-functional teams to say, hey, you guys do this really well. Help coach me. How can I do this? And so I think that's something that, again, it's not you don't flip a switch the minute you join a team. It's something that you've got to invest in them, get to know them, and then start to really talk through specific topics and add in kind of those layers of coaching along the time.
Yeah, I love this. And Julie, I love that radical candor. I've not heard that phrase before. I think that's it's like my phrase of the week. I'm going to try to, I want to learn. So I love that though, but how do you build that approach? Because I know feedback for people, receiving feedback and giving feedback, not always the easiest, but I love this concept. Can you talk a little bit more on what radical candor is? And
oh my gosh, absolutely. So there is a book, and I promise I won't hijack this podcast and just talk about this the entire time. But there's a book called Radical Candor by Kim Scott. And if you guys are listening, if you even Google this and look up the images, there's a really cool chart where it goes into and shows kind of the different layers of caring personally about a team. So obviously you can care a lot, or you can care not at all, as well as kind of how you challenge a team. Do you challenge them really directly, or do you not challenge them in any bit? And so I think that's where this is something that I talk to my team about, and I'll typically pull up this image as well and show them. And what I try to explain to them, because I don't think a lot of people are used to this. I think a lot of people have come from worlds where maybe they've only received feedback when they were either doing something the best of the best, like, hey, this is incredible, this is above and beyond, best of the best, beyond the job, they get praise. Or the opposite of, hey, you're in trouble, something is wrong, you made a mistake, we got a problem here. And so you're getting feedback on these like kind of polar opposites of the spectrum. And that is, I think because of that, a lot of people hear the word feedback and they kind of tighten up, they cringe a little bit and think, oh God, like you're about to give me feedback. And then that's something that they're scared of. And I think that's what I try to explain to teams is like, hey, because I care about you guys on a personal, deep level, because I want you to be better, because I believe in the best of you, and I know that you have a lot a lot of kind of opportunity for improvement, I am going to provide feedback in a direct way. I am going to give you feedback. And it's not to say that you're in trouble. It's not to say that you're not doing a great job. In fact, oftentimes I'd say where I give the most feedback is to say, hey, you did a really good job here. Here are the things that you did well. Here's some feedback of kind of that do more style coaching of do more of this. This went really, really well. And in many ways, those are ones that I may not just share in a one-to-one. I may share those publicly with the team so that the team can say, hey, here's what good looks like. But then often that also is, hey, you did a good job here. And here's a couple tips for how you can do better next time. Here's some tips for how you can be even better. Because that's the thing I think with radical candor and with growth mindset with all of this. It's this mentality around that we are constantly evolving as humans. And where we are today, it's going to keep getting better. It's good. We're going to keep learning. We're going to keep growing. We're going to keep improving. And that's the kind of team I want. I want a team that it's not just, oh my gosh, I hired these people or I inherited these people or whatever it is. And I'm getting all of their background and experiences and everything. I want to invest in my people so that the team I have today is going to be just brilliant and phenomenal and exceptional months and years from now. And that they're going to be so happy that they want to continue to work with me years from now.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny. I've had this similar conversation before, where to me it's almost like when you're driving a team and you're building a team, it's almost like raising your kids, right? It's the same kind of, you want them to achieve at their maximum potential. So you're going to give feedback in order to do that, you got to give feedback along the way and help them understand that, hey, this is what you're doing great. And this is where you have an opportunity to try a different way and see what you can do better, see if it works better for you.
And I think a lot of that, there is a certain level of responsibility as a manager, as a leader, and maybe not even, maybe you're not directly managing people, but I think you can be a leader in any position, in any role at a company. And I think there's a responsibility that goes with that we have the power to shape how people feel and how people act and really how they believe in themselves. And I want a team to recognize, just in the same way I would with my kids, I want them to believe that they can literally do anything, that they have the potential to do, and that I'm going to help them get there, that, you're not alone. It's not, hey, you can go to the moon if you want, and it's like, hey, good luck with that. It's more of, hey, and here's how we're going to build the rocket ship together. Here's how we are going to train for this. Here's how we're going to get there together. And I think a lot of that, I mentioned wiggle, or what good looks like. That's a phrase that I got from Kevin Dorsey. I did a training with him through Pavilion a while back, and it's one of my favorite phrases now, and I'll bring it to every company I ever work with. But this concept of really helping teams understand not just the expectations, not just the outputs of what the expectations of the role are, but also like, here's the expectations, but here's what elite behaviors look like. Here's what great looks like. And that translates not just to, how you manage your book of business and stuff like that, but it's every piece of the job of, there's what good looks like with interacting with a team or interacting cross-functionally. There's what good looks like in communication style and stuff like that. And I think that's something that it's really important to celebrate the journey, kind of the effort, the grit that a team is putting in. And when things go well, reflect on the learning. What did we learn from this? How are we getting better? But also when things don't go well, let's reflect on that. Let's talk through how we can learn from that and get better kind of throughout and learn from each other. I don't want everybody on my team to have to learn the hard way of, oh, we lost this client and, here's what I would do differently. Like, be loud about that. Let's learn from each other so that we don't all have to make the same mistakes.
So, Julie, you obviously, besides the learning with, from experience and what happens, you obviously with classes and reading have done a lot of learning yourself. And How do you foster that same type of interest with your teams and try and make sure that they're fostering basically a learning culture within them?
Yeah, so that again, it's layers here. Um, I am I am blessed to have worked with really, really strong enablement teams also, and I
Mm.
think that's something that it can't just come from leadership and whatnot, but it has to be kind of this culture around, hey, you're not just going to be onboarded, you're not just going to learn how to use our product, how to sell or how to talk about our product and the industry and whatnot, but you are going to evolve as a human being. Like you're going to take some of these skills with you to your personal life, throughout your career. And I think some of that is creating enablement that continues throughout their entire career with me, so that that's something that truly, again, it's not the onboarding and the enablement, it never stops. It's something that we're constantly fostering, we're constantly coaching, and there's different ways to do that. I mean, I'm a big fan of call coaching. I That's something that I invest definitely a decent amount of time into, and have different ways that I'm, either scoring or providing feedback in different things. But I think even just doing that as a team of listening to calls, role playing, practicing, and really building that mindset around honing your craft and around that concept that you're going to continue to improve, you're going to continue to strive for excellence, as well as when I see examples of it. I mean, there's definitely people that will mention, "Oh, I just read this book, or I listened to this podcast, or um, something that they saw on LinkedIn or whatever." A lot of times, I'll try to give them kind of a platform during a team meeting to say, "Hey, would you mind bringing this up in a team meeting?" Because again, it can't all come from me. That would be really annoying for my team, just to hear from me all the time. And so to give my team a platform and a place to talk, and that also helps the other people see, like, hey, Julie sees this as a good thing.
I like that. One of the things you mentioned, like listening to calls. I remember one of the most uncomfortable things I used to have to do. We would train. We would do trainings, and they would record us, and then we'd all have to watch our trainings back. And I was like,
Oh,
oh,
and you're listening to your voice, and you're like,
listen to
oh
my
my
voice.
gosh,
I
that's what I
can't stand
sound
my
like.
voice. Exactly. I didn't love it. I'm doing something weird, twitching with my hands. Usually, there's always something. But that was where I really learned the most, right?
Yeah.
And it's because we all were doing it together. And it was like, hey, you did great here, but what about this? And it helped me so much. And I love that you're developing that with your team. And so Julie, there was so much we covered. I love this. I'm ready. I'm ready to like run through a wall for you, Julie. I'm ready to join the team and get going here at Flowcast. I love this.
We're hiring.
So just to kind of recap some stuff you mentioned, you talked about really, starting off with getting to know your team, like getting to know them as humans personally, what inspires them, what motivates them, what strengths they have, what areas they think they need to work on, right? Really kind of building that up front to build that trust. I love this idea of radical candor. Kev, I already have Amazon pulled up. I'm ready to order it as we speak. I got a new book coming my way here, and hopefully with Amazon, maybe it'll be here by this afternoon. Who knows? But can't wait to read into that. But then building out this culture where the team has that space where they're open to taking feedback. They are free to talk about where they need help. And then you, Julie, obviously demonstrating those skills and with them as well. So last question, Julie, this has been awesome. We always ask all our guests a topic. This is gonna be a little off topic from this, but I'd love your thoughts. We're asking because the hot topic in the industry, everyone's talking about AI, right? Everyone is talking about, oh my goodness, AI, it's Julie Fox, AI. What are your thoughts on it? What impact do you think it's going to have in customer success? I'd love to I know we're diving off here, but I'd love to hear what you think about AI.
Oh no, I love this question because it is truly, I mean, it's everywhere. I feel like every conference that I go to, every time I log into LinkedIn, it's everywhere between AI and digital CS. I think that those are the hot topics right now. And for me, it's really exciting. I mean, I feel like we are the pioneers. We're part of something that right now, um, it didn't exist when we started our careers. And I think it's really exciting to think about what this is going to do and how it's going to transform teams and really the customer experience. I think a lot of teams have dabbled in it in a very, very small way where, they're starting to use ChatGPT to be like, hey, how can I respond to this email or how can I craft this or whatever. And I think a couple of things we're doing with our team, we use different AI note taking. So that's been, oh my gosh, that's a game changer for our team because it's something that we did kind of months ago where we were looking at maybe in Q1, looking at where our team was spending time. And from that, really trying to figure out of like, are we spending our time in the right ways? And one thing that we found is, oh my gosh, we're spending tons of time prepping for calls, doing a lot of the administrative stuff. So the call notes, the follow-ups, all that type of stuff, all of it's really important. So none of it are we willing to say, just take that off your plate. Don't prep for calls. Don't take notes. Some of that stuff is the most important stuff we do as a team. But through AI, we've really been able to lean on these different tools and resources so that our team can be fully present in meetings. They can be their best selves and like really dig into conversations, be curious, ask questions, knowing that the AI is capturing the conversation. It's taking the notes for them, and with the click of a button, you've got a follow-up email with the action items with stuff like that. So it's really raised the bar for the entire team and really helped us become more strategic, become more of those kind of trusted advisors, more prescriptive with our customers, because we're not spending as much time doing the administrative stuff. I think that's one small example of how we use it. What I think we're really going to see in the coming years, whatever, months, days, who knows, is is really seeing teams use AI in ways that it changes the game. It changes what we're doing, why we're doing it, how we're doing it, what we're focusing on. And I think that's the exciting part is it's really becoming a tool and will continue to become a tool that allows people to build these deeper, more meaningful connections with customers and really use data and use the everything that we have, everything that we're compiling to really predict and understand what customers need and when they need it. And it's gonna change the way we work, because instead of having to wait for a customer to ask a question and we can react to it and respond, we'll really be able to use that data and information to say, okay, how can we answer questions before they even have to ask them?
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot of things that it's going to do, but I think the most exciting part is that I don't know. We don't know. Nobody knows, and I think that's really it's both terrifying and really exciting because we don't even know what it's capable of or what we're going to be doing, because there are so many companies out there that are really going all in on AI, and that's what's going to be cool, is seeing the different innovation of these products and how that is going to impact the customer experience and even the human experience of the people that we work with and what their daily lives look like.
No, I love that. Well, Julie, you've been awesome. This has been a great topic, and I think the next part we have though is our rapid fire question. Kevin's going to hit you with a couple quick questions, no prep, right? Just to get to know you a little bit better. Kev, you want to do the rapid fire here?
Yep. Let's get going. You ready, Julie?
I guess.
I guess.
All right. So what's one hobby you have outside of work?
Okay. So I work out every day and I also paint. So back from when I was a little kid and painted, I took many, many years off and then started painting again when I moved into a new home.
Cool. So me too. You and Kev have something in common here. You guys can, that's a different podcast, is the painting podcast. We don't have that one up yet, but that's awesome.
That's awesome. I love that.
So, what you said, you work out any particular program?
I am big into Pilates. That's something I've been doing for a while, as well as yoga. And I just switched over to F45. My reason for it's a little bit of a funny story. When I went to LA with my team, we did a couple berries workouts, and it kicked my butt. I was sweating, I was breathing heavily, and it made me realize, wow, I'm not, I've got a strong core because of Pilates, but maybe I'm not in that great of shape. And so I just recently changed up my workout so that I can maybe just try some new things and be challenged in new ways.
Yeah, I do F45 pretty much 3 to 5 mornings a week.
It's a great workout.
Yeah, it is. Okay, favorite sport to watch or play?
To play would be tennis. To watch, I'm not a big sports watcher, and I hate to admit that, but I am a big Notre Dame football fan, so I'll go with that.
That's good. Julie, have you got into the pickleball craze, Julie?
You know what? I need to get more into it. I have played a few times, but yeah, I haven't played too much, but
It's
I do have
taking over the world, Julie. Pickleball's the new thing. So at least down here in Atlanta, we're a big tennis community, and now pickleball is now like all over the place.
Yeah, I need to get more into it because it is the times that I've played, I'm like, I feel like I laugh so much. Like it is a fun but hard sport, but it's just a little bit different than tennis in the sense that like I'm not running around quite as much, and I feel like it makes it just that much more enjoyable.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, one place you'd like to travel?
I would love to go to Australia someday. We actually just opened a office in Sydney, and so one of my managers just moved across the world to Australia, and that's definitely on my bucket list. Is not just to go visit him in the office, but to go to Australia myself.
Very
that'd
cool.
be awesome.
Favorite book?
Well, I mentioned Radical Candor. I really like Five Dysfunctions of a Team. Really, anything by Patrick Lencioni, I think is really, really good. Yeah, I'll leave you at that.
Awesome. And last one, where can our audience find more about you? Find out more about you.
LinkedIn truly is the best place. I post. I'm not an everyday person, but probably once, twice a week. Some weeks more. That's become really, really my place where I've built quite a community and gotten to know a lot of people. So please don't just follow me. Don't just, I guess, lurk. Please engage with me. I think that's something that I really enjoy. And I genuinely mean that. Send me a message. And I have meetings every single week where I'm just meeting with strangers where either I am picking their brain and learning from them, or I am coaching or mentoring and helping teach people.
I love that. Don't lurk. And I will say, I said this earlier, follow Julie. Again, I started following her this year. Julie, I love your content you put out there. It's so awesome. And maybe I gotta engage more. Maybe I'm lurking a little too much. I'm using that maybe a little too much. But anyway, Julie, thanks so much for joining the show. And that's a wrap for this episode of the Customer Success Playbook. We hope you found our conversation insightful and have a better sense of how to develop a growth mindset and elevate your customer success game moving forward. If you enjoyed this episode, please like, subscribe, comment, share it with your friends and colleagues. Hey, maybe someone will mention it in Julie's next team meeting, right? They talk about podcasts in there as well. So you can find us at LinkedIn, at Roman Trebon, at Kevin Metzger, at Customer Success Playbook. All right, so check us out on LinkedIn. Check our website out, customersuccessplaybook.ai. Make sure to sign up for our newsletter, connect, and share your feedback on the show. And we'd love to hear your feedback and suggestions on future topics and guests we should have on. As always, thanks for listening.
Keep on playing.